Our first 2 days of time in Nova Scotia's Cape Breton Island had us exploring by foot. Our third day was no different. We based our first half of the trip from the Cheticamp Campground, a national park run facility right at the entrance to the western half of the park. From the campground, you have access to several trails, including the trail we're hiking today.
So we're here in Cape Breton Highlands National Park once again, and this morning we're going to be doing the Salmon Pools Trail. So this is a 12.2 kilometer trail that goes along the water, and we should get some spectacular views of that, and hopefully we'll get to see some fish.
Being a seaside province, Nova Scotia has a rich fishing history. Famous for creatures like lobster, crab, and scallops, people living on the East Coast are also no stranger to delicious fish like salmon either. The Atlantic salmon evokes images of pure, sparkling waters and pristine environments. Moreover, fishing plays an important role in tourism and recreation in Atlantic Canada. Unfortunately, the salmon population is disappearing, mostly due to overfishing and degradation of their natural habitat. Salmon live at sea for about 2 years before coming upriver in the fall to spawn. Of these, only about 10% survive and return to sea the next year as kelts. A grilse is a salmon that returns only after 1 year at sea. You see, in fresh water, salmon stop eating, although they may still be tempted to latch on to a fisher's fly. Without knowing much about salmon, I was happy to simply look at the water and hope to see something. I didn't know what time would be best, but as it turns out, going in mid-September was the right time. But even then, I proved I am not cut out for any form of fishing, as there were none on site the entire time. As we continued pressing on, we began reviewing the information that Parks Canada had posted about the salmon population. After reading, we learned things like the life cycle of salmon, something I'll share with you now, should you care to listen. Salmon lay fertilized eggs in gravel nests, protecting them from would-be predators. Next, the fish at this stage, called a leave-in, hatch, usually in April or May. Here, they remain in the red, feeding from an attached yolk sac. After about a month, they emerge, being promoted to something called a fry. Yes, as in French fry. Just babies, these fries are only about 2.5 inches long. After doing their time, they are promoted once again to something called a par, a phase of development about a year after becoming a fry, and can be identified by a dark, vertical bar. These fish can live in fresh water for upward of 6 years, reaching sizes of 15 to 20 centimeters before beginning their first quest for the sea. Once they reach this milestone, they are known by their friends and family as smolt. But that's enough about fish. Time to get back to the hike.
So if you're the type of person that's a little bit worried about elevation gains when it comes to hikes, this may be the perfect trail for you. So although at the very beginning you do climb a bit of a hill, immediately you come back to the other side, and then it's pretty much been flat the whole time following this bed of the water.
Continuing along the path, we enjoyed that the majority of the hike was along the water. Once you reached the first pool, it was easy to see the water getting deeper. We headed to the coast and sat on the rocks. Here we did what anyone would, sat and enjoyed the scenery. It's here that the mountains meet the river. The water here was moving fast, especially as we made our way further along the trail. Eventually, we came to a spot dominated by large boulders. Narrowing the path, the flow of water here was especially powerful. The sound of the rushing water was loud, and for whatever reason, I thought this was the spot to comment about a track we had seen a few moments before on the trail.
So we're trying to identify what this track is. So looking at it, you can see it has these individual claws, and that makes us think it's a bear. Because here in the national park, there are 3 animals that we should be aware of, and that's moose, bear, and coyotes.
Not far from the first pond, we came across a big change in the trail, seeing something we never expected.
So this is absolutely unbelievable. The amount of rocks that have come down this mountain, and the amount of work that they took in order to remove some of this, it's unreal. I would have never expected. This is so out of place.
It's hard to describe how this boulder field seemed to appear out of nowhere. A mountain of rocks, just there. It was hard to capture just how steep the hillside was. But it's amazing these rocks were able to hang on and not just constantly fall off the edge. As we prepared ourselves to head towards the last several pools, we were met with an unexpected halt, a trail closure that stopped us in our tracks.
Unfortunately, our time here at the Salmon Pools Trail has come to an end. As you can see, we have come to a closed section of the trail. Beyond this, there were several other look-offs that we could have had a chance to see the beautiful water, maybe catch the glimpse of a fish or 2, but today we're going to end it here. So one recommendation I have for you to make sure that you don't run into the same problem is to double check the Parks Canada website. They would have all the updated information on the trail conditions, and I advise that no matter where you go.
We may have had the day cut short, but we were still very pleased with our choice to hike this trail. We agree with the moderate rating given to this trail. Not overly steep, but perhaps too long for an easy rating. We love the mixed Acadian forest, the ample water views, and the change from the wide, lazy river to a condensed river canyon with rapidly running water and salmon pools. Although we didn't see any salmon ourselves, we were amazed to learn about the life of this species and appreciate the work of Parks Canada preserving this section of land, allowing them to go about this process without the risk of being overfished and going extinct.